Few days ago, in the Pahalgam area at Jammu and Kashmir, 5 terrorists opened fire on the tourists that had visited that place and killed almost 26 of them. And apart from this, 20 others were injured. Now, these tourists who went to visit that place did not have an agenda. They did not have anything against those terrorists. But yet, these cruel men opened fire on innocent civilians and took their lives. And this is what makes all of this really, really sad. It's that these terrorists killed in the name of God. They segregated people based on religion and then killed them because they did not believe in the same ideology, in the same God. How sad is this? How ignorant is this? Now, usually we do not take up these kinds of topics in this channel because we focus on Vedanta, on conscious creation, on improving our lives and progressing in our spiritual journeys. But I thought this was very relevant because we see this happening throughout the world in the form of wars, in the form of terrorism, and in the form of various riots. People are being killed across the world. Why is this happening? What is the true reason behind this? Let us take a look at the deeper aspects to human psyche and human psychology to understand what makes a person kill another in the name of God. There is an important quote by J. Krishnamurti that I always remember when it comes to all these things. He said, "Where there is division, there will inevitably be conflict. When I believe that I am separate from you, when I believe that there is division between you and me, unity, harmony, love is never possible ultimately. Of course, there can be temporary adjustments in society, there can be temporary compromise, there can be temporary peace. But as per J. Krishnamurti, ultimately we cannot be peaceful and we cannot be in love if there is division." This is a very, very deep statement, and the entirety of Sanatana Dharma, what we call Hinduism today, is based on this one truth, that everyone and everything is one in essence. And we need to acknowledge here that just how the right idea of God, as explained by Vedanta as a universal consciousness and as one infinite being, can give us absolute liberation, happiness and freedom, the wrong idea of God, as believed by some of these ignorant men, can create immense suffering not just for themselves but for the entire humanity. So, the right idea of God can liberate us and the wrong idea of God can keep us in bondage forever. Now, of course, when we look at these cruel men, right, we see the worst expression of humanity, the worst idea of what a human being can be. But let us go deep and let us understand what makes us do such things, and let's understand what the ancient Sanatana Dharma in the form of Vedanta and the Upanishads were trying to tell us all along, so that we move towards a more sustainable and a harmonious society. People talk about secularism nowadays. If we look at what secularism has become, it comes down to this: I am different, you are different, I believe in different things, you believe in different things, but we need to coexist together because this is how society is. So this is about tolerance. I tolerate you even though you are different. But this kind of tolerance and this kind of compromise is not permanent. It is not holistic in nature. This is what J. Krishnamurti meant when he said, where there is division, there is bound to be conflict. So, the ancient Sanatana Dharma never spoke about secularism. It spoke about acceptance. If we look at the holistic view of the Upanishads and Vedanta and how it talks about reality, it is very, very sustainable. It's not just sustainable, it is the ideal way to live as an individual, it is the ideal way to live for a society. The ancient Vedanta says, you look different, I look different, you believe in different things, I believe in different things. You have different things because of your karma, and I have different things because of my karma. But ultimately, at the fundamental level, we are one and the same. As that Atman, as that infinite consciousness, me and you are one and the same at the fundamental level, in essence. So, we can believe in different things, we can understand reality in different ways, we can perceive God based on our limitations and our tendencies, but who we are, in essence, is one, right? This is the doctrine of Vedanta. Vedanta speaks about oneness in all and the infinite potential of self. It speaks about the universal consciousness which is in and through everything, and which is all pervading, and which is in which the universe itself appears. The entirety of Sanatana Dharma was built on two fundamental concepts. Number one, it is Brahma, the infinite essence of reality, the infinite consciousness. Number two, Dharma, which is about morality, responsibility, and purpose. It is about living in alignment with Brahma, the principle, essence of the universe. But this is not the way in which each and every one of us think. There are different ideologies, there are different philosophies, there are different worldviews nowadays. Some people in this world actually believe that those who look different, who act different, who believe in different things, and who worship a different God do not deserve to live. This is a kind of ideology that we find with such people who attack innocent civilians. Just look at the blatant expression of ignorance here. Can there be a God which is all merciful, which is all forgiving, which is infinite, which is intelligent, which is pure love? But apart from all these qualities, this God expects us to kill someone because that person did not believe in this God. Can something which is truly infinite, truly intelligent, truly loving, and truly forgiving, and truly kind, can expect something like this? Now, whether this group of people who kill based on their religion and based on their belief systems misinterpret these scriptures of their religion, or whether they are taught this, I do not know. But if we apply basic logic to this, we will understand the stupidity of this ideology. How can the God that is infinite, which is beyond the universe and which is the cause of everything, can expect someone on this tiny planet to kill another tiny being within this planet just because that tiny body-mind complex, this tiny human being, did not believe in that infinite God? And again, these people go on to believe that after I do this, after I kill someone in the name of God, I will reach heaven and I will experience all sorts of opulence and abundance and sensual pleasures over there. Look at how these people are brainwashed, and look at how naive these people are. If at all there is heaven, which is peaceful, which is in the state of happiness, and which is in the state of abundance, can it accommodate an ideology like this? Can it accommodate people like this? It is naturally impossible. What we see through these instances is nothing but pure ignorance. If there is one universal consciousness, as Vedanta suggests, then every bullet that is fired in the name of God becomes an attack on God himself. And this shows the dangers of the ego that is unconscious. So that is what we will come to here. Here we will understand how our ego can become extremely dangerous if we are unconscious of it. Everything comes down to consciousness, and all problems stem from unconsciousness. This is the primary doctrine on which our community, the Advaita conscious society, is based on. Consciousness is the source of all wisdom, all peace, all abundance, all fulfillment, and harmony. Unconsciousness is the root of all suffering, all stress and anxiety, and the extreme expression of unconsciousness is terrorism and is this kind of self-inflicted violence. So let's understand what is ego. Ego is a false sense of identity that we have created within ourselves. Ego can be looked at in this way. It is biologically necessary for us to have ego because a strong sense of identification with the body is necessary for a species to survive. We need to survive in this world. We need to eat food. We need to protect ourselves from predators. So for this, we need a sense of identification with the body. So this is the beginning of the ego. Ego is very common in all sorts of animals and birds. And we will discuss ego in great detail in another video. But this ego can become very, very dangerous when it is coupled with a highly evolved intellect. The problem with society right now, the problem with human beings right now is that we have an evolved intellect, right? Our intelligence is very strong compared to the rest of the species. But this can be really dangerous if we are unevolved and if we are obsessively identified with the ego. It's like giving fire to a child. Even though fire is powerful and it can help us do productive things in this world, it can also burn us and kill us. That is what is happening. And this ego is even more dangerous when it begins to identify with a group and when it begins to form a mass identity, a group identity. And when this group identity is again identified with a particular religion or God, it becomes even more dangerous. That is why this was never allowed to happen in the ancient Sanatana Dharma. If we look at how Hinduism is, how Sanatana Dharma is, there are innumerous number of gods. There are innumerous number of ideologies, philosophies, worldviews. Ultimately, the harmony is maintained because at the core, Vedanta teaches us that everyone and everything is one. We can look at reality in different ways, through different perspectives, through different filters, and through different understandings. But ultimately, we are one and the same. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, says Chandogya Upanishad, which means every aspect of this existence is one consciousness. So, this was the underlying doctrine of Sanatana Dharma. But again, over this came many ideologies. People worship Ganesha, people worship Shiva, people worship Lakshmi. We worship God based on our belief systems, based on our tendencies, based on our nature. That infinite consciousness, that God which is all pervading, may not have a form, but it has the potential to appear to us in the form in which we wish to worship it. This was a profound understanding that was given to us by Sanatana Dharma. Shri Krishna said in Gita, truth is one, but the wise call it by different names. Within our families, we have people worshipping different deities and following different ideologies. In my home itself, we follow different paths. We all come from Sanatana Dharma, but I study Vedanta primarily. My father is very, very interested in yoga and the practices of yoga. My mother is absolutely into devotion, and she puts devotion above anything else. Now, these things might appear to be different for an outsider, but we Sanatanis understood that it is all one and the same. We are trying to go to the same place. We are trying to understand the same thing in different ways, through different means. This understanding of Sanatana Dharma should spread to the world. This teaching of unity, harmony, and peace should reach the world. Every wrong ideology of division, of separation, of violence should be dissolved through this wisdom of Vedanta. If we as a society begin to look at each other and the world as a whole through the understanding of Vedanta, then all the things that man is doing right now will change. We will build a sustainable world. In fact, the word dharma means that which is sustainable, that which can sustain. It is said dharayate iti dharma. So dharma is absolutely about sustainability, and sustainability only comes if we understand the unity and the wholeness of existence. When I understand that me and this nature and the people around me are one and the same in essence, then I will not do anything which will harm the environment. I will not do anything which will harm someone else. But if I believe that I'm different and the world is different and the people around me are different, then of course, to protect myself or my ideology or my identity, I can do anything to someone else. This is the root of all evil. Separation and division is the root of all evil. Not only this, if we truly understand the meaning of God as per Advaita Vedanta, what these men are doing across the world is exactly the opposite of what we are supposed to do. If everything is one in essence, then we need to help each other, love each other and support each other, not kill each other. Now, what can we do about it? What can we do about the unconscious ego? What we can do is become conscious. When we create a gap between our true self, the awareness, and this ego, we begin to be conscious of this ego. When we become conscious, the game is pretty easy. We begin to understand that we are not the ego, but still we have the ego, because this ego is a natural consequence of having the body. By creating a gap between ourself and the ego, we are no longer consumed by the ego. Our actions are not directed by the ego. We will begin to understand what the ego does, how the ego behaves, how it thinks, how it tries to save itself and survive. But yet we will understand that we are not this, we are not the ego. So the sense of separation between the ego and who we are as that consciousness is very, very essential, especially in times like this. It is very easy to succumb to hate. It is very easy to begin to hate each other and create more and more suffering on this planet. But this should change through evolution. Only spiritual evolution can bring lasting change. But apart from this, at the societal level, there should be very strict implications for people who do this. When someone does this at the physical dimension, there should be very, very strict punishments so that nobody ever dares to act like this and do this again. Even though spiritually at the fundamental level we are one and the same, Sanatana Dharma never said non-violence by itself is the complete essence of Dharma. Non-violence is simply one aspect of Dharma. It is not the entirety of Dharma. That is why Sri Krishna told Arjuna, go fight your battle. You are a Kshatriya, you are a warrior, and it's your responsibility to stand up for righteousness, and it is also your responsibility to stand up against immorality. Sometimes standing for dharma is about standing against adharma. So as a society, we must become conscious and evolve so that we transcend these issues. But for right now, we must act as a society and take strict precautions, strong actions against such ideologies and such people so that they are not welcome in our society, so that they do not get a place to evolve and grow in our societies. So this was what I wanted to speak of. And my deepest condolences for all these people who lost their families. The pain through which they will go through is immense and none of us can imagine it. And like the law of karma states, what you give is what you get. The people who gave that pain will experience much more of it. It is law. Nobody can escape it. So be conscious about what you are doing, because what you give is what you get.